Hello there. This is Jeff Vick with Record Harvest, and I've got here with us Zach Emmendorfer, one of our key partners with Riverbend Ag. I'll let him introduce himself a little bit more here in just a minute. We're going to take about 10 minutes of your time this morning. Wanted to just blast out to you a winning wheat strategy for 2024. So with that being said, Zach, do a quick introduction of yourself, and then we'll get into some key questions.
Yeah, Zach Emmendorfer, Riverbend Ag up in Wathena, Kansas. Proud partner with Record Harvest for probably 4 years now, I think. I've worked with them in the past when I was at BASF, and also now on kind of our own journey. So looking forward to continue working with everybody and enjoy it so far.
Very good, very good. Well, let's jump right in there, Zach. So first, most important, what is the wheat market looking like right now?
So I just checked this morning, and Kansas City June July delivery, hard red wheat 619, soft red wheat 558. Looking like some good opportunity to have a good ROI on a good wheat crop this year. I think, especially with the weather we've had this far has been fairly conducive to wheat in certain areas. So looks like there's some pretty good opportunity out there.
Nice, because that's always the biggest question. Is it really worth my time and
Right.
my money to make some money in 24? So give us your strategy, your thoughts on that.
Yep. So kind of like I mentioned, I think we've had pretty good weather. Got some awful good looking wheat out there that's just about the right stage and looking like it's just about ready to come out of dormancy. Hopefully we don't start too early, but I think a good start to where we can end up as far as yield wise, obviously depends on your stand count, as well as a tiller count. And whether if you got your wheat in early enough, it's obviously tillered out some and continuing to tiller and will. So a good time to do a tiller count would be coming up here in the next few weeks. If anybody needs help with that, we're happy to do that. But general rule of thumb is, 70 to 100 tillers per square foot of wheat, which you can just make a little foot by foot square out of PVC pipe, throw it out in the field, and make a good count that way. That's what I've done in the past, and typically 90 plus tillers is kind of what we're looking for the higher yield, high management wheat. So, like I said, if anybody needs help doing that, we're happy to assist.
Very good. Now, weather-wise, of course, we've got folks who'll be listening to this that are, you're in the St. Joe area,
Yep.
and so guys down farther south, you get the warmer it is. When
Yes.
do I need to get started, or do I need to get started today?
I think, we should probably weigh our options and, look at a long-term forecast and see what the risk is, as far as that goes. I mean, I think with the warmer weather, we're getting awful close. Seems a little early still, but I've been wrong before. So, I like to go early rather than late. I will say that because you can influence a lot more early than you can from behind. So, I think now through the next 3 to 4 weeks is probably going to be a pretty prime time.
Okay, very good. When we start talking about high yield, that number is a different number to different people, and farmers start thinking, okay, how many passes do I need to make? Do I have the time to even do that? So for you, what you've seen over the years, how many passes should we anticipate?
I, I think two at the very least, and up to four, depending on how much you want to push it. So anywhere between, I mean, three is probably going to capture most of it. I think you can do quite a bit with three, and then I know I'd say the fourth or fifth pass would be your head scab pass, and that one kind of comes into question a few times in my opinion. So 2 to 3 is going to catch most of it, I think.
Okay, very good. Well, before we get into how much money we're going to spend and the cocktails that we're going to make up for those passes, let's talk about nitrogen. I know nitrogen is a key part of the strategy. With your experience, does it pay to use a nitrogen stabilizer? I'm very comfortable talking about In Gear, which is Meristem's product, and then I know that Innova has a nitrogen stabilizer product as well. So talk a little bit about that. Give me your thoughts.
Sure. Um, you know, in my opinion, you probably 95 out of 100 times get what you pay for on stabilizing your nitrogen, whether it's strictly stabilizing it or, you know, adding it something else that's going to help it be more plant available. Um, you know, and Triton is the product that we've developed at Innova, which is a couple different modes of action, as well as has a high carbon organic acid in it as well. And you know, I think the crops today, wheat maybe not as much as corn and beans, but they're designed to really use whatever nutrients they're more efficiently than they used to, because we're pushing more nutrients through that plant, and that's the genetics are kind of bred for that. So I think the faster you can get the nitrogen that you put down into the plant and the most efficiently that you can is what we're after. And I think that, you know, you say $8 an acre. Well, it's more than just $8 an acre, because you're protecting your investment. Plus you are creating a better environment for that fertility and that plant. So like I said, Triton is our product. I think we're, you know, right in that $5 to $6 range an acre. And like I said, I don't hardly let anybody go out without treating it, and that's not because I want to sell it. That's because I just believe in the science behind it.
Very good. Well, let's get into the details. So you said two passes minimum, maybe that third. So as I'm getting ready for that first pass, what's going to be in there? What's my spend?
Yep. So first and foremost would be the nitrogen pass. You know, but we all talk just nitrogen for wheat, but I also think sulfur should be considered in adding in there. You know, I haven't seen a soil test anywhere that was not deficient in sulfur. So that can be for numerous reasons, but whether you're planning on using 32 or 28% UAN or urea, I would consider adding some sulfur to that, whether that be ammonium thiosulfate for the liquid guys or ammonium sulfate for the dry guys. I would by far recommend somewhere close to a 6-to-1 ratio of into sulfur. So that's where I kind of like to end up as far as when it goes on wheat. So first pass would be nitrogen sulfur, however many units you need. I'm assuming everybody's split applying it. I don't hardly see anybody putting it all on at once anymore. It's not a it's an okay practice, but it's not the best one for high yielding wheat. So we got nitrogen, sulfur, and then you'd want to put your stabilizer with your, you know, some sort of a organic acid in it to make it more plant available. And you can also consider adding in some like a PGR, like Insight. It would help with the burn from the UAN and promote tillering and root development as soon as that comes out of dormancy.
All right, very good. So how much money did I just spend? Spitball per acre.
This one's gonna be your most expensive pass by far. Depending on how much nitrogen you need, probably you've got that budgeted already. By using the stabilizer and the Insight, we're adding anywhere from $6 to $10 an acre.
Okay. All right. So things look good. I'm pleased. Weather is treating me well because it always does in farming. And I'm ready to go out for my second pass. So what are we looking at for our second pass?
So this would be your green up and herbicide pass is what we call it. Most people just refer to it as green up, but um, mostly because some people may already have a herbicide or their field was clean enough, they don't need to worry about it. So I would consider using a cheap fungicide, whether that be, you know, straight propiconazole or even the half rate of Preaxor is very, very good. Always throw in an insecticide because aphids are so hard to find and so hard to see from, you know, an untrained eye. So I know I have trouble finding them still today, even when they are there. So just a good practice to throw that in. Again, talking Insight, the PGR, promote cellular root growth and tissue growth as healthy as possible for those cells, and as well as Chrome Flex to get some more nitrogen and sulfur and some plant available sugar to boost everything, kind of making a nice concoction. So, you know, and of course you would throw your herbicide in at this point too, whether that be Qlex or Finesse or Powerflex.
Awesome. All right. Two passes in. Things are going well. I've been able to manage my budget, and I can't wait to see what I can really push for grain fill. You mentioned about sulfur earlier, and boy, study after study after study is coming out saying how dramatic that for grain fill, sulfur plays that key role.
Yes.
Sulfur and, perhaps boron, some of the other ones there. So I'm going to make my last pass now. I feel like it's worth the spend. So what would you recommend for that final pass?
So this is where we would be at the flag leaf stage, right? Flag leaf's out, your head's in the boot right behind it, about to come out. So this is where we can protect the entirety of the plant or the flag leaf at this point, which is going to provide the key nutrients to fill your head. So I would recommend using something like Nextcore, Prosaro Pro, even Quilt Excel at this point, or Moravis. I can't remember the Moravis brand, but one of those, as well as an insecticide again that's super cheap. And then Chrome Flex for sure in this one, because we have the nitrogen and the sulfur and the sugar, and that's just really going to push that thing to feel like it has enough nitrogen and sulfur to go find some more, as well as fill out very well. Insight will also be a good thing to put in here as well. That you can't ever overdo it on the PGR and the biostimulant of that, just as far as cellular health goes. So again, fungicide, Chrome Flex, Insight, insecticide.
All right, very, very good. You've touched on it a couple of times, the PGRs. Some guys may not be familiar with a plant growth regulator. That may have not been part of their strategy in the past. So, your experience, what value, what benefit do you see? How important is that to add it into my strategy?
I, I think we exchanged some pictures last week. Mainly on corn and beans, and I'd like to get some on wheat too. I don't have any currently, but you just see much healthier. You can just tell that each cell in that plant is twice the size of what it would be without it. So what you're doing is you're just making everything bigger and stronger. It's really just making everything use those nutrients better, use everything to an adjustable size. And by that, I mean, like, you get soybeans that want to have nodes that are super far apart, and you really don't want that. So what that does is help keep it smaller, shorter, but then stack them on each other. And it actually kind of does the same thing in wheat. So it's just a really good science-based, um, cellular structure. Simplicity is really what it is.
All right, very good. Well, this is Jeff with Record Harvest and Zach Emmendorfer with Riverbend, our partner. Thanks for a few minutes of your time. We have every product that Zach has mentioned. Get it through him. You can get it through us. Either way is fine. And we're here to serve you. Zach, any last words you want to share?
No, I think just if anybody, needs any help on what to do or whatever, we're happy to make recommendations, whether that's something we can help with or to get you in touch with somebody else. But I think we got some good knowledge behind us if anybody's looking for some help.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day out there.
Thanks.